Hey, Cowboys Nation, welcome back. My name is Rika. This is my show, and I'm a barely functioning adult. Also, barely functioning, my co host, Mr. Charlie Moffat. What's up, asshole?
What's up?
And tonight on the show, back again, my very special guest from the mean streets of Twitter, Mr. Wedge Buster himself.
What up? That's good. I like that.
Hey, kids. Hey, if you hadn't already, don't forget, give us a thumbs up. And if you hate Charlie, go ahead and hit that thumbs down. I'm keeping
Damn.
track of those. It happens. And if you haven't already, subscribe and ring that notification bell so you can get notified every single time I go live.
Yeah.
You're bringing my present early?
No.
But I never told you what I wanted.
I said I didn't bring it, dipshit.
Did you hear that, Charlie? I made that one just for you. I said I didn't bring it, dipshit.
Yeah, I know. I
Hey.
heard that. I like that.
Hey, listen, kids, twistedgorilla.com has the best t-shirts online. They've got funny t-shirts, sarcastic t-shirts, but most importantly, guys, they've got Cowboys t-shirts. So head to twistedgorilla.com, let them know that you're a fan of Rika, that you're a fan of the Cowboys, and that you hate Charlie, and save 15% at checkout when you use coupon code Rika15, and we'll put that right down there in the bottom.
I got Twisted
There you
Gorilla on
go.
right now.
Heck
I
yeah,
got
Bishop
the product on
Sycamore.
right now. Bishop Sycamore.
Got the
That's
DAG
the first thing
t-shirt
I
on
bought
today.
from them.
All right, guys. So, see who's in the chat. Pat Campbell. Thank you for joining us. And my Aunt Charlene. How you doing? Okay. So, let's start this thing off with the obvious. Is Dak in a slump? Yeah, I'm inclined to say, yeah, Dak's in a slump. On 105.3 The Fan today, Jerry Jones said, I don't want to say that slump, but that's probably fair. But it's such a multifaceted evaluation that I would say our offense, is definitely away from where we were playing 5 and 6 games ago from the standpoint of production.
No shit.
No shit.
Yeah.
And he went on to say, in Dak's defense, he missed a lot of time in training camp. He missed a lot of time early with that calf injury, and his mechanics are off a little bit. His feet and his motion aren't quite where they ought to be. I hear all of that, and by the way, that's been discussed, but is there merit to it? I don't think so. I just think just as he's had to his entire career, he will get in, he will figure it out. That's the key thing here. He has no superior in working on it, studying it, taking it to the practice field, repetition. He's as good or better than anybody I've ever seen. And so he will mentally and physically rep this through. Jerry's got his back. And I understand what he was saying there. Is it a slump? Yeah, probably. Do you want to use that word slump? No, you don't want to use the word. There's really nothing else, though, to describe it, right? I wrote a blog yesterday. You can check that out, RikaMovesTheChains.com. And let's pull up some numbers that I put in there. Let's talk about the numbers. Okay. So, talking about points per game, weeks 1 through 8, we were averaging about 32 points a game. Weeks 9 through 14, that's the Broncos moving up until last Sunday's game against Washington, we're averaging 25. So we're down a full touchdown every single game. First downs, that first set of games, we were averaging 26 per game. We're now averaging only 18. Total yards of offense per game, weeks 1 through 8, averaging 454. We're now down to 322 from the Broncos moving to week 14. Average number of completed passes per game, down almost 20% from 26 to 21. and the average rushing yards per game, which really speaks to the situation with the O-line at this point. We are down 33% from 152 per game to 101. And you got to consider that 152 that we were averaging in weeks 1 through 8 includes week 1 where we basically had, I don't know, nothing. We have 40 or something like
Yeah.
that. Some ridiculously small number of rushing yards. So if we're going to talk about Dak in a slump, let's break that down a little bit. Let's start with the physical, right?
Are you asking or?
Victor's got jokes.
That's pretty good.
Love me some Victor. All right, yeah. I mean, is the slump because of physical problems? Is it the calf? Is it the ankle? Is it something going on in there we don't know about? What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Wedge.
I personally, I'm not in the training room. I'm not in the locker room, but I would personally rule out physical. I don't think it's a physical issue. I think calf's okay. I don't want to step on the toes of the next place we're going, but I definitely think it's more mental, particularly visual kind of thing he's got going on. But I think his health is fine. When he wants to take off and run, he can. I don't think he's particularly as athletic as he was before the ankle surgery, but I think that's something that may return maybe next year. But I think in the short term, he's all right. I don't think the calf's bothering him. I don't think last year's injury is bothering him, because there are times when he's got to take off and go, you can see it. So I don't think he's favoring the calf or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's the calf or the ankle. There's too many plays where he does stuff that if the calf was bothering him, he couldn't do.
Yep.
He's real good about getting out of the pocket, rolling out full speed, planting that plant foot, that bad leg, jumping like Jordan and throwing the ball.
Yep.
You don't do that shit if your calf is hurting you. The other thing I'd push back on the injury is when he got hurt was New England game. Then he went into the bye. He didn't play. Well, nobody played, but you know what I mean. Then the Minnesota game. And then when he came back for that Denver game, everybody's like, his calf still bothered him because he looked like shit. The whole team did, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next game was Atlanta game, and he fucking lit him up. Like, just lit him
And
up.
he ran somebody over the goal line.
And he lowered his shoulder and fucking and he ran that game. And he had been running for 3 or 4 games before that because he started off not running.
Yep.
And everybody's like, why ain't you running? Then he started running more, and then now he's not. But that Atlanta game tells me that unless he re-injured it in that Atlanta game or some point after that, his calf and his ankle's fine. Because you don't do that shit what he did in the Atlanta game with the fucked up calf. Because that game, everybody's like, all right, Dak's back. Everybody's fine. Let's go. And then we went back into another 5-game stretch to where he just didn't look good. So, yeah, I would say it's more mental. I would say mental has a lot of things to do with it. I think there's times maybe he don't trust his own line. I think there's signs of that. I think his receivers, aren't on the same page as him, and their routes are different. I noticed the last 2 games. I didn't notice until the last 2 games. There's times me and Bluff talked about this today. There's too many times that there's 2 wide receivers in the same fucking area.
Yep.
Like, and it makes no fucking sense. Like,
yep.
I'm assuming fucking Moore is good enough of an offense coordinator to know that you can't run 2 routes in the same area. CD has admitted that he fucked up on one of his routes in the New Orleans game, that he fucked the whole play up because he misheard it. Mike McCarthy said today that on that interception that Dak threw on the fucking the one he didn't see the linebacker, that it was a wide receiver. I forgot how he worded it. Being anyways, it was his depth of the wide receiver where this wide receiver was at. Mm-hmm. There were some issues with that. So I see some issues with that. Maybe he's not trusting his wide receivers either. Then mentally, I don't just think he's just not there. He's going through his reads quick. I've seen somebody point that out on all 22 to where, like, when he gets the ball, he'll look, and before he even gives before that guy even gets a chance to get into his break or do anything, he just gets off that read and goes to the next one. He's going through his reads real fucking quick.
Yep.
Which means he ends up with his last read, which is usually a fucking dump off or a 2-yard pass. So I at the end of the day, I don't blame Dak, just Dak. I think it's Dak. I think it's play calling. I think it's wide receivers. I think it's O-line. I think the whole offense is a clusterfuck right now. Nobody. I can't really see anybody that's playing well. I don't blame the running backs because, hey, I'm a running backs don't matter guy. And if you ain't got an offensive line blocking good and you ain't got a quarterback in a passing game, well, your run game ain't going to be there. This ain't 1980s where you can still fucking run the ball with nothing else. Yep. That's just how it is. So running backs are the only people on the offense, which is really weird for me to say that I don't put any blame on. It's all I think. And well, this has nothing to do with that, but we got to get the fuck over the goddamn Mac fucking experiment. He's got to get the fuck out.
Yeah. He's causing a lot of problems, and he's causing a lot of the distrust that Dak has in the offensive line. I mean, when that guy's getting forklifted into the backfield, I mean, he's even fucking up the offensive line play on run plays because he's getting jacked back into the path of guys that are pulling. He can't pull himself because he's not athletic enough.
Yep.
Like he's caused it. Him getting forklift is why Tyron got his ankle fucked up again because he got fucking tossed onto it. Like I feel like Joe Philbin did a much better job last year with the line than he's doing this year because there was a lot less to work with, and he was at least putting a workable line on the field last year without. I mean, Tyron was gone pretty much the whole year. Lyle was gone the whole year. Collins was in and out. Like everyone was hurt. He was down to tackle 5 and tackle 6 and guard number 4, and the line was passable. It wasn't good, but it was passable. And I feel like he did more with that line last year than this one. I hope – I don't know if he's getting phased out, but I felt like he had the magic touch and knew who needed to be where. They've got to see that 66 is a problem at this point.
Right. Yeah, see, and that's what I question whether he even has control over that, who's in, who's out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that might be coming from somebody above his head.
Yep. It's got to be because I know Philbin got to see it.
Yeah, well,
he did such a great job last year.
Yeah, it's on film. He's getting rocked, and that's what I told everybody when everybody, all the fans was screaming for Connor Williams to get pulled because he was getting less than 2 penalties a game.
Man, and everybody was penalties.
And everybody was good. Yeah, everybody was fucking crying, but he didn't cost us any games. And I'll go back to this. Through that 7-game stretch, we was averaging 400 fucking yards of offense and over 30 points a game. And people was crying about less than 2 penalties a game. I'm like, look, don't always fucking, the grass ain't always green on the other side. So be careful what you fucking wish for.
Because you might boil a lot of those penalties down to who the officiating crew was.
Yeah, you might not get that penalty, 2 penalties a game. Great, but you might not get the fucking blocking that Connor Williams was giving you. And he was playing very well as far as the blocking, pass protection, and run. We was averaging 5.4 yards a carry behind him.
Run game has disappeared.
No other offensive lineman had that. Even Martin, we wasn't averaging that many yards behind Martin. So I think the fans fucking was screaming about it. Then I think fucking the ownership knee-jerked or whoever, maybe it was the coaches. Somebody knee-jerked and they yanked fucking Williams and they put fucking Connor McGovern in. That's at the same time fucking Tyron Smith got hurt. So you had fucking Steele over left fucking tackle, which I didn't like that either. So ever since then, this whole offense hasn't been the same. The run game hasn't been the same. Dak's been fucking shaky. Like he's going through his reads, trying to get the ball out of his hands as quick as he can. Now, with that said, on 3rd and longs, I do not understand what the fuck was happening today. There was fucking 6 3rd and longs, and we had 5 fucking wide receiver screens out of 3rd and longs.
Because they're not trying to pick them up. That's a give-up play.
Yeah, and one of them, the first one they ran, my first thought was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, they're going to go for it on 4th down. That was a 3rd down call for a 4th down decision. Let us pick up a few yards and then we'll go for it. And they did, and I'm like, all right, it was part of the 15 script play. I'll throw it out like, hey, that was the play that came up and they called it.
Yeah.
But then 5 more times they did that. I'm like, what in the fuck are y'all doing? And the other one was just a wide receiver screen to fuck, not wide receiver, a screen to fucking Zeke that got blown up from the beginning and Dak just threw it in the ground. So I don't know what's up. That's when I say I don't put it all on Dak, because some of that shit, that's just not a very smart play call. 3rd and 11, and you go and fucking throw a wide receiver screen, which we're not good at it anyways. We're not good at running them anyways. And some of that's because of Dak. Dak's not to run that play. Watch Aaron Rodgers run it. And I fucking hate Aaron Rodgers. But he has a real quick release. He gets that ball and he just pops his wrist and it's out.
Yep.
And that it has to be quick like that. Dak's not good at wide receiver screens. He never has been. Because he gets the ball, he has to turn and he has to throw. Yep. And that takes more time than it does. Like Aaron Rodgers just grabs it and just sidearms it real quick over there.
And I will say, our receivers are not the best hands catchers.
No.
And when like for people who haven't done it, when you're running a screen and you're coming towards the football and it's coming straight at you, that's a real big concentration type of catch. It seems really easy to someone who's never played receiver, but I'm telling you, you're taking those few steps running towards the ball. That's a really hard catch to make, unless you're just a really natural hands catcher, which Gallup is definitely not. CD is more, but he's not the greatest. And I'm not sure Amari is the best straight up hands catcher. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough play if it's not natural to you. I'm not sure you have those guys.
Yeah, I personally don't like wide receiver screens. I would probably have, not that anybody gives a shit I'd ever coach, but I'd probably have one in my fucking playbook. And I'd run maybe one a game just to let them know, hey, I'll run it if you're not fucking paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, if you catch a favorable defense for it,
that's what I'm saying.
To sprinkle it in.
If I see somebody playing 10 yards off, well, yeah, I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to check to it, say, hey, let's do it. Yeah, you got a lot of room. But for the most part, I'm not going to throw a lot of fucking passes behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
it's just, I mean, all that is an extension of the run play, and sometimes it's even worse.
Well, and it's a danger if you're talking about a lateral, which you're always riding that line.
You're always riding that
incomplete
line.
Versus lateral. I mean, yeah, it's kind of dangerous game. So,
but yeah, and I'm not knocking Dak. I mean, all quarterbacks has flaws, and one of his flaws is I don't think he's just very good at throwing the wide receiver screen, because he's just not.
He had one that was a bad miss on Sunday.
Yeah,
one of those screens was a terrible throw.
Yeah, he just doesn't have. I mean, he can throw it. It's quickness. He doesn't have a quick release.
It's being quick without throwing a missile.
Yes.
That's a hard skill to master, you know?
Yeah. Like I said, if you watch other quarterbacks, and not all quarterbacks are good at it, but some of them like Aaron Rodgers, he's good at it. Patrick Mahomes is good at it, because they can just grab that ball without even the laces on it and just flick it with the wrist or boom, and it's out and it's gone. Yeah. Dak has to grab it, turn it, and then fucking throw it. And that split second makes all the fucking difference.
That's the thing that makes everything so hard for Dak, though, is because he has to be so robotic, because it's not natural. It's all learned, and he deserves all the credit in the world for learning and improving, but he's still not a guy who does all those things naturally. He's got to be always cognizant of what his feet are doing, what his arms doing, what his wrist is doing. Like it's all learned behavior. It's not natural. So when he does get in slumps like this, the first thing that falters is all those mechanics, because that's learned stuff. And I don't want to speed to the next point, but I feel like when Dak's internal clock gets sped up, you guys follow the Olympics at all?
Yeah.
So you know what happened to Simone Biles?
Mm-hmm.
She had what gymnasts call the twisties, where you get like a spatial disorientation, and everything you're seeing isn't quite what you're seeing. You don't trust yourself. Like they can't trust themselves in flips because they no longer can feel exactly how far they are from the ground or the angle. It's just like everything's thrown off. I feel like Dak, to a lesser extent, starts to get the twisties when he can't trust his offensive line. I feel like sometimes his clock is sped up and he's looking downfield like he's looking into a fucking carnival. You know what I mean? It's just not clear. Everything's going everywhere. You can see it. And personally for me, because I was at the Kansas City game, you could feel how uncomfortable he was just watching him and watching what's going on downfield. And the receivers did him no favors, by the way. They were getting clamped the whole time. But it felt like in the beginning of the season, he almost knew where the ball was going before the snap. And if not, he could look, boom, adjust, boom, get it off, go. And once you speed his clock up, I feel like that's where all of his other weaknesses start to show themselves. The mechanics go to hell. The decision-making goes to hell. And I think that's what we're seeing right now.
So I read an article before the show tonight. I read a few articles actually about the about the mentality of a quarterback. And there were some key points from several sports psychologists who said quarterbacks at a very high college level, quarterbacks who are pro, generally will make the following statements. I'm frustrated with mistakes, so frustrated that I can't focus on the next play. But I don't think that's a Dak thing. He's never been that. He's always been resilient. He throws a pick, he comes back out the next series, he's back on his game. He's always been that way. He shakes it off pretty quick. I couldn't do that, but he does it. I lose confidence when coaches give me feedback. I don't think that's him either. I don't think that he's somebody who's going to take things to heart like that. I become indecisive in game situations, stuck or frozen by indecision. That one
That's
I'm
a
not
little
sure.
extreme.
Yeah. I wish that I could play in games with the same confidence that I have in practice. I think probably most people, anybody would feel that way. I don't think that's going to cause you a slump, though. But this one was the one that hit me. I perform tight and cautious because I try too hard not to make mistakes.
He could be guilty of that at times.
I think so, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I said last week at the show. Sometimes I think he's in his own fucking head. Like I seriously think he's pushing it on things that he don't. It's almost, to me, this is just a field thing. It's not something I've seen. That there's times where he should fucking go deep or he should test the defense, and for whatever reason he doesn't. And there's times when he shouldn't be fucking doing that. Should take what the defense is giving him, and he tries to push it. It's like his clock is off on when he should go and when he shouldn't go. Yeah. And you mentioned the wide receivers being clamped down. That's another thing I mentioned on the show the other day was like our wide receivers, the first 7 games was getting open pretty easily.
Yep.
And for some reason, they're just not open. Even when there's so many contested catches, whether it's a catch or whether it's a pass breakup. But it's like we don't really get open like we used to. Some of that I put on. I have to put on an OC of not creating plays to get them open. I mean, there's much more to that shit too. But yeah, but like I said, at the end of the day, it is Dak, and he's the quarterback. He's going to take it. That's who people's going to talk about.
Yeah,
but
that's part of the job.
Yeah,
fair or unfair.
Yeah, fair and unfair. But when I look at it, I see Dak has issues. You know, whether, like I said, whether it's his internal clock is speeding up and he's going through his reads too quick, where he's indecisive, like when he should be pushing it, he shouldn't. He checks it down. When he checks it down, he shouldn't be checking it down. Wide receivers not getting open like they used to. Play calling is fucking questionable at best. Actually, it sucks. O-line is just in shambles. I mean, you know, he has somebody in his fucking feet at all times. So I think it's everybody. I don't think there's one person that you could.
The offense is in a slump.
Yeah, the whole offense. Yeah, it's not just Dak. The whole offense is in a slump.
But he has to be the guy to lift them above that. Yeah, I don't care if that's fair. That's how much I believe in him. You know, I finally said something negative about Dak and everyone acted like I hate him. Like, maybe I just believe in him more than everyone else. I've seen him be great. So I expect that, not all the time, but I expect that most of the time. Like, he's got to be the guy to lift them out of that. No one's going to do it but him.
Yeah, he's responsible for it. I mean, he's the one that's got to pull everybody's head out of their ass. And I'm with you. I got confidence. It's not like he forgot how to play football with a pass.
He'll get out of this, man.
You know, I mean,
I bet anything he'll get out of this.
Through the first 7 weeks,
hope it's in time.
Through the first 7 weeks, he was an MVP fucking candidate. You know, I mean, that he was playing at that level. So it's not like all of a sudden something happened and he just forgot how to play football.
Yep.
It just it started with the O line. I go back when they started tinkering with the O line, and when Tyron Smith went out and they put Steele over there to replace him, which I didn't like, and then they fucking yanked fucking Williams and put Connor McGovern in there. Ever since then, and they started doing their fucking thing at right tackle with Steele and Collins, and then just man, y'all, they got to make a decision on that. Now, Tyron Smith getting hurt again, you can't do nothing about that. It is what it is. Right. Somebody's got to play, but they need to fucking make a decision, and they got to get Mac out of there, man. I mean, he's just not good. And I told everybody, fucking when they wish this, I'm like, it's not the same. I know he looked good at right guard, playing right guard and playing left guard, or that's two different monsters, you know. And everybody's like, well, if he's beside Tyron Smith, it'll help out. And that's another thing. Tyron Smith, since he came back, he hasn't looked fucking great either. It's not like he's, Martin's about the only one consistent one. He did get steamrolled that one game, and they made sure everybody saw it on national television, which you should, because when he gets steamrolled, it's not something that happens often. But he's about the only consistent one. Yeah. All of the other ones it's been kind of real shady with everybody.
I think Tyron's on his last legs, man, and I hate to say it. And maybe it'll go the way it went with DeMarcus Ware, where he was clearly on his last legs. There was when they cut DeMarcus Ware, it made all the sense in the world. You could not have predicted that guy would magically get healthy and play well in Denver and go in a Super Bowl. Like, it was the right move at the time. I don't know if they took him to Wakanda and operated on him or what they did, but he magically found it. But I'm sure that'll happen when we finally let go of Tyron. We'll get tired of dealing with the injuries every year. We'll let him go, and he'll go play 3 years somewhere else and be great. But that guy feels like he's on his last legs. I mean, it's not a knock on him. It's just the accumulation of injuries, man. The guy he's beat to hell. Like,
6
I don't know what
years
you want.
Without playing a full season of starts. 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Without our starting left tackle there full time. And then the off season comes and we do very little to even address the situation. Like, we didn't know that it was going to be a problem before the season even started. Ty and Secchi, not a solution. Josh Ball, I don't know. He might have been, but you don't know. And you're not going to know till maybe next year.
Yep.
In the meantime, though, you don't know how many games now that he's going to miss. Dak was already struggling to trust this line.
Yep.
What is the absence of 77 going to do for that level of trust? And if we're going to have to throw Steele back down there to the left, where he's obviously not as good, you got to put Williams next to him. You cannot have Steele and McGovern and then Biotis on the left. You just cannot.
Man, disaster. Yeah.
Exactly.
And we're not the only ones that see it, obviously. Like, every defensive coordinator in the league saw it before we saw it. I mean, they're going to load up over there.
To speak to those penalties, and I talked about it a lot as it was happening and when the change was made, but I never actually sat and looked at the full set of numbers and gave it some thought. But now that we've had some games with McGovern on the field, and I'm looking at the difference in total offense, which is about 132 yards per game between weeks 1 through 8, then versus 9 through 14. We went from 454 down to 322, something like that. So if you put Connor Williams back on the field and he was holding, theoretically, he could probably do it, I don't know, anywhere from 7 to 10 times a game. And we're still going to have more total offense than we got right now. So why are you worried about it?
That's a great point. You're right. My goodness. I never thought of it that way. It makes it even worse that we're leaving 66 out there.
Yeah, it's like I said, it never made sense to pull Williams. I like Mac. I thought he played well at right guard last year when Martin went down. I thought he played well the one time he got a chance this year against the Bucs when Martin was out with COVID. But there's a difference of biggest difference playing right guard and left guard. It doesn't always work out. And my main reason was fucking Williams wasn't doing anything wrong. He had less than 2 penalties a game. And I mean, like, do you really want to fucking tinker with something that was working so well? I mean,
right.
I thought it was a knee-jerk reaction. It's almost like they listened to the fans. It's almost like they heard.
I was going to say that, man.
They heard all the fucking
it felt like that, didn't it?
Yeah. felt
Like
like
they've
they
been
fucking heard
scrolling
all the
Twitter.
all
Out
the
of all the
dipshit
dumbass
Cowboy
shit that
fans.
I say, that's what they chose to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I was fucking anti against it when they did it, and we was doing a show, and everybody was like, "That was the right move. We can't have the penalties." I'm like, "Yeah, no, we can't." I was like, "But we also have to have somebody out there that can actually fucking block." You know, do I
Yeah.
want 2 penalties a game? And actually, it was less than 2 penalties a game, but I'll bump it up to 2 penalties a game. Do I want 2 penalties a game, or do I want my fucking $160 million quarterback fucking getting his ass rung up because the other guy can't block as good as the other guy?
Yeah.
I'll take the 2 penalties a game. You know,
You
at
know,
least
and
he's holding. At least he's making sure they don't get to Dak. You know, I mean,
yeah,
that's and holding it's just like any other fucking call. There's a lot of fucking it's subjective,
Yep.
and like you said earlier, certain referees going to call it more than others. You know, so it's just I don't know. I never had a problem with it. You know,
And let's
my
stop
thing.
fooling around with Steele at left tackle while we're at it. Like, we're gonna fix this thing. Let's fix it. Put
If you let-
Inseki over there.
right.
Yeah, he's not
thank you.
Tyron Smith, but he's not. It's not a fucking red alert over there when
Right.
Naseki's over there. Like,
That's-
let's stop
And
fooling
I'm all
around.
for keeping Steele on the right. I want to develop him. I don't think that
Yeah,
the
he's
disparity between Collins and Steele is that great. Collins is better, but Collins is maybe only this much better. Collins isn't so much better that you're going to win games because he's so much better. So go
Yeah.
ahead and put Steele down there. Develop
he
that
could
kid.
catch Collins by next year if you want
Yeah,
to dump the money.
because man, and I said it on this show a few weeks ago, the difference between Collins and Steele is about this much and $9.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Collins is $10 million against the cap next year. Steele is just under 800,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
I'm not.
bet
And we're
Collins is
talking
gone
about the
next
difference
year.
of this much in level of play. So
I'm not a.
keep
I'm
him
not a
out there.
Neseski fan, but when the tower went down originally, and everybody's like, you can't put everybody wanted Collins over there or
Right.
shit. Because at that time, I'm like, no, put Ty in there, and everybody was like, no, fuck, he sucks. I'm like, no, he doesn't. They's like, did you watch him against Minnesota?
He
Yes.
had like one,
My-
2 bad series.
My question
then he
was,
clicked.
did y'all watch him against Minnesota? Because his first 2 series, he looked like shit. I admit he looked bad, but he just came off the fucking bench. And I think that's another thing people don't understand. When you're a backup, you get no snaps during a week, no first team snaps. All right. Then you're in the middle of the game, you're cold, everybody else is warmed up, and all of a sudden, oh shit, I got to go in. So it might take a couple of series for him to get fucking rolling. Once he got rolling, he gave up no pressures. On that last drive that we fucking drove down and won the game with, he fucking dominated on the left side. They wasn't even coming close with him. That's why when Tyron went out the first time, like, just put Ty over there, fucking, and then just keep everything the same. Don't start tinkering with shit, moving fucking a young kid like fucking Steele, who has developed his right tackle spot. Don't try to put him over on a left tackle all of a sudden. I think some of their decisions they made with their offensive line has been bad, and they're going back to Steele this week too. You know, it's not going to be Todd. They already said it's going to be.
Did they say that? I was looking for it today.
Yeah, it's going to be Steele. They're
Bad
putting
news,
them back
man.
over there.
It's not going to be good. Like, we know it's not going to be good.
Yeah,
and during the New England game, I made some comments about pulling Williams and putting in McGovern, but I didn't mean that on the long term. I didn't mean take away Williams' start. I just meant we were looking at a game that was very close, and in that particular game, the refs had Williams' number.
Yeah.
They were targeting him. They were on him, and it wasn't going to stop. So let's go ahead. Don't punish him, but go ahead, pull him out, put him on the bench, stick in McGovern. Let's keep this little bit of a lead. Let's finish this game, get it done with, and then move on. I didn't mean all the time, man. That wasn't my intention. I didn't mean, pull Williams for forever. I meant just for a minute. Make an adjustment because obviously the penalties are becoming a problem right here in this game, and it wasn't all Williams' fault. So,
yeah, like I said,
I kind of wish I hadn't said that.
I'm with y'all too.
I'd rather now I feel bad.
I'd rather have Steele on the right too, but like Rika said, I feel the same way. The difference between Steele and fucking Collins at right tackle ain't that much of a difference to me. So at this point, I've given up on that. Just if they're going to go with Collins, fuck it, go with Collins. If that's what you want to do, just do it. I don't care, because I don't think you. Only thing is still, at least you're developing still, and he's getting reps and shit like that. But if you want to go with Collins, that's fine. But on the left side, when Tyron goes out, it does not need to be Steele. He's already shown, I think it was 2 games, 3 games, however many games he played over there, that he can't handle that right now. Maybe he
like
can
you
next
were
year.
saying, left and right ain't the same thing.
It ain't the fucking same. Me and Bluff talk about this all the time. It's a balance thing. It's a fucking first drop step with your left foot, right foot's not the same. Your first punch is going to be with a different hand. I mean,
that's any position. That's any position. There are guys who can only rush the passer from the right side and can't rush from the left. People don't even think about it, but Marvin Harrison in Indianapolis took 95% probably of his snaps as the right side receiver, and Reggie Wayne was always the left side. Because there's a muscle memory thing.
When you turn the left, turn the right,
it's different. It's like, you ever tried to run the bases backwards in baseball? We used to have a drill where we'd race the base paths in Little League. Dude, when you ran to third base first and came around, and that shit felt so unnatural. You'd always
make
lose.
that turn.
It does mean something. Left and right is not the same. It takes a lot of muscle memory. And unless you're like naturally, some people are gifted where left and right doesn't matter. They're just as good with a right-handed layup as a left. But that's not everybody, and that's not even most people. So, like, back to your point, left side and right side offensive line is not the same thing at all.
Yeah, I played outside linebacker in high school. This high school, I don't anybody think I'm trying to compare myself to pros, but I played outside linebacker, and I went to the strong side every time. I was on the strong side. I always wanted the strong side to be on the right, because when I was on the left, everything felt fucked up to me. I had to have my left foot back, reading what they's doing, and I had to go in and attack with my right shoulder. And I'm like, this is weird. But when I was on the right, I was fine. It was natural. I just could go. But yeah, it's just different. Yeah. That's why I try to tell everybody, but they assume that, hey, you play right. If you play tackle, you play tackle. Nah, not everybody's good at that. Right. I go back to big Eric Williams. He was a dominating right tackle. I don't think he could play left tackle. He played right tackle because he fucking who he was on the right side. You put him on the left side, you're probably going to get a different player.
They tried Larry Allen over there on the left side, and it didn't work.
Yeah, and Eric Williams was better than than our left tackle, which he was good too, Tune. But they wasn't ever going to put Eric Williams on there because Eric Williams was good on the right, Tune was good on the left, and that's what the fuck you do. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, until they get the offensive line settled, Dak ain't going to get better. The wide receivers ain't going to get better. And the fucking running game sure ain't going to get better.
Dak is not in this slump alone. And
he's
not in it alone. The run game has disappeared. The pass blocking has gotten a lot worse. It's a team offensive slump, but still, if you're the quarterback, you're the man. You're the guy that's got to guide that thing out of the dirt, and I believe he can.
Yeah, no, that's what I always tell people. Dak's going to take heat. Everybody, any quarterback takes heat. As our fan base, when we see another fucking offense struggling, who do we go after? They always go after the quarterback. Oh, he ain't as good as Dak. I thought you say he's better than Dak.
Part of the job.
And y'all don't watch the goddamn game, though. Y'all don't watch. Maybe he's going through the same shit Dak's going through. Maybe his offensive line sucks. Maybe his receiver. Y'all don't look at that. All y'all look at is there's a quarterback struggling. Let's attack the other fans about their quarterback. That's going to happen to us. When other fans see Dak playing like this, they're not going to look. They don't give a shit what his offensive line is doing.
No.
What his wide receivers are play calling. Nope. They're going to attack fucking Dak. And that's part of fucking, being the guy. That's why quarterbacks gets W's behind their names and losses.
Yeah.
Fair or not, even though it's just not a statistical fucking stat that they keep up with, they still get the W's. If they win, it's because of them. If they lose, it's because of them. Fair or not, that's just how it is.
Man, I know a lot of people think that I'm very negative, but this team, if both sides of the ball, and special teams, I don't want to ignore that. If they can both get rolling, I will take this team over anyone. I just need to see them have both sides of the ball going at once. Can you imagine this?
I know what you're going to say. Go ahead and say it, though.
Can you imagine this pass rush when the offense is rolling and putting pressure on the other team, and you got to throw that bitch 50 times? Good fucking luck, dude.
Yep.
Good luck.
I was just saying that the other day.
Parsons and Gregory and Lawrence and Gallimore coming at you, and them fucking Hawks back there and you got to throw it to get back in the game, good luck.
I was just
And
saying that after the game the other day. If we could get this offense to back how it was through the first 7 games, there's not a fucking team out there that can beat us.
There's
Oh,
not.
absolutely.
Line them up.
And I even said it doesn't have to get back to that. Just give me 85% of what y'all was the first 7 games.
Give me like 28 points a game, and this defense.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. Just give me 85% of what y'all was the first 7 weeks. Just 85. Y'all don't have to be full. Just dominating. Just give me 85%, and there's nobody that can touch us. That's when I'll come out and I'll be one of them dipshit fans that says this team is different.
Yeah,
because I hear that fucking
almost
shit
went for it. Last time we was on together, people were saying that a lot. This is different. This is different, and I was saying I still need to see it.
It was close. I know it was close too, because I do not say
I was close. I was ready to go.
There was a time that I thought, man, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this team is different. And then everything broke down. I'm like, all right, glad I never said that, because now I don't look like a fucking dummy.
I think I even said, if we go out here and stomp Denver and stomp Atlanta, I'll get on board. And then you got your ass kicked by Denver. You did stomp Atlanta, but then you look like not great after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they can, there's still time to get it together, but I'm not going to go all in until I see it. Yeah. I got to see it.
The team is different thing always makes me laugh, because I'm like, it's different, you fucks, because we're winning. It's not different anyway else. Fucking, it's just we're winning. I mean, I heard it in 2007 because why? Because we fucking winning. This team is different. This is the team that's going to go there. Then I heard it, didn't hear it in 2008 because we didn't make the playoffs. 2009 made playoffs, but I think most people realized that team wasn't going to go too far. 2010 to 2013, I didn't hear it because we wasn't winning. 2014, that's all I heard. This team's different. This team's different. This team's different. I'm like, no, this team ain't no fucking different, dude. Prove it to me, and I'll say it's different. But until then, I'm not going to say it. Yep. Heard it again in 2016. Even actually heard a little bit in 2018 once we got a Murray and we started rolling.
Yeah.
But that's why I said fans say that when it's because you're winning. That's what's different. We're not used to fucking going out and having 5, 6, 7 game win streaks and shit and dominating like that, So this team to me wasn't no different. When people was comparing them to 90 Cowboys, I'm like, yeah, man, most of y'all motherfuckers was still in your daddy's nutsack, and y'all trying to talk about the 90s Cowboys. Y'all fucking 25 years old and 30 years old.
Right.
Y'all's little swimmers. So y'all,
I'm 39.
Yeah.
And when I go back and watch the early 90s Cowboys, I'm learning that I didn't internalize everything properly from that time. So if you're younger than me, you don't need to be talking about the 90s Cowboys.
Yeah,
I was not even a teenager hardly when that was going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I try to tell people, and I'm not just being a dick. I just try to tell people, if you was a kid back then, you did not watch football with the same eyeballs than you do now. No. So I'm not trying to be a dick to people younger. No. I'm just trying to say, hey, look, it's I didn't watch football when I was from time I was born to 16 years old. I had a certain way I watched football. Most of the time on Sundays I was out.
You don't know
football. Shit. It wasn't until I was 17 that when my football career was over, I'm like, all right, I want to start watching more NFL. And I sat down every weekend and watched it and started watching it the way I do now. And so when I was at my height when the fucking Cowboys won them ones, I was an adult. You know, and so when somebody who's 10 years younger than me mentioned they was about 8 years old at the time, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm not so sure you really actually fucking remember fucking what happened back then.
Right.
Because as an adult, it was so fucking nice to go buy a fucking shirt with the fucking Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl champs and wear it around and talk shit, drink, fucking go to a bar and tell everybody fucking suck a dick, when they was talking shit to you, because it was a highlight of my fucking day. Just to walk out and everybody just look at my shirt. That Dallas sucks. Yeah, fuck you. Because you couldn't say nothing to me. I was fucking arrogant.
I said it on the timeline. The last time we got to an NFC Championship game, I was still a virgin. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I didn't understand football then like I understand it now. Not even close.
Yeah. That's. I'll even tell you this. Like when people start ranking quarterbacks, like Joe Montana, you very seldom see me talk about him. Because of my age, when he came in the league, I was 40.
That is the attitude to have.
I was 5 years old. When he came in, I was in kindergarten. Okay, so most of his career, I was in elementary.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, he was still playing when I was a fucking adult.
Sure.
So I remember that. But by then, he wasn't the Joe Montana that he was in the mid 80s when I was a fucking in elementary and junior high.
What opinion am I going to have on Jim Brown?
Yeah, that's what I say. I can't.
I can look at stats and look at highlights all day. That doesn't mean I have a grasp of that era.
See, I came with like
John
John
Elway.
Elway.
About nothing that happened before I was cognizant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like John Elway and Dan Marino, I can a little bit for the most part because they played so long and they played enough when I was an adult that I could see him play. But like fucking Montana, he was going after 94, which at that time I was 21, but he fucking started when I was 5. You know, so most of his career, I can't really judge what when I watched him play, I didn't know what the fuck I was watching. I didn't watch his fucking his drop step, his 3-step drop, and try to judge how his arm angles and how he was playing, what kind of offense they was running. I didn't know shit about football. I just knew, you know, fucking.
That's why I always say of my lifetime instead of all time.
Yeah.
I cannot judge football from 1949. There's no way for me to do that.
Yeah.
All the analytics and adjustments in the world won't give you an accurate picture of what football was like before you were born. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're about 47. Damn it, Stephen White, stop. We're about 47 minutes into this
great
thing.
comment.
Jeez, Lou.
Dr. Hyman.
Yeah, I mean, so we talked about
Steven smokes a lot of pot.
Yeah, he does.
I'm pretty sure he's high right about
the physical, we talked about the mental, and then we talked about what we really think that it is, which is just a culmination of an entire offense that is in a slump, mostly due to a revolving offensive line and maybe some play calling issues. And I'm not really sure what's going on with Kellen Moore right there, but I wish he would maybe get his shit together. You know, I felt like last summer, and I said it a million times over, that we were going to come into this season with an offense that was going to be completely dominant, lights out, top 5, definitely number 1. We're the best, and that all we needed to get there was a defense that was going to be ranked somewhere between like 12th and 18. Just hold the opponents under 30 for us, and Dak is going to get you the rest of the way there. But really, this team has flipped the script on me. I never expected this defense to be as far as they went, as fast as they went. And hey, I'm not bitching about it. Thank you, Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
However, hey, Bird, what's up? With that being said, I mean, they've just got 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got 4 games to figure this the fuck out. I don't see them not making the playoffs, but what happens in our first playoff game, that's a little scary for me.
I think
I don't like going to the playoffs and losing. I'd rather just not go at all. So we'll see what happens.
There's still time.
There's still time. There's still time to figure this shit out. All right. I mean, a win is a win. I'm happy for the win in New Orleans. I was happy for the win against the Washington what the fucks. But one offensive touchdown per game is not going to get the job done. I'm not okay with it. Cowboys Nation isn't okay with it, and we shouldn't be okay with it.
Hell, the one we got this past game was from the defense. They put us on the 40-yard line. So,
and it's one offensive touchdown in the last 19 possessions.
Yeah,
it's okay to pull the alarm when that's the situation.
Yeah, and that's coming from a team.
Stop telling me everything's fine.
4 offensive touchdowns per game between weeks 1 and 8.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I don't know, man. It's okay to be critical in my eyes. And look, I was not pulling the fire alarm until this past game. I've always laid back. Like, hey, look, there's a lot of shit going on. There's some injuries, there's some COVID issues, there's some missing coaches, some missing players, you know. So I was fine with all the excuses, all the reasons, whatever you want to call them. So I was fine. It's like I'm okay. But this game right here that we just played, there was no motherfucking excuse. Like, you have everybody back, all the coaches are back, everybody's here. Let's go right here and show them that we're back. And
the weather wasn't as bad as we expected.
Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's right in front of you, and you go out and you look like that. And yes, I'm pulling the fire alarm. I'm a little freaked out about it. I mean, can we get it straightened out? Yes, but I've been saying that for 6 fucking weeks now. 6 fucking weeks, I keep saying we'll get it straightened out. We'll get it straightened out. After 6 weeks, after 6 weeks, you have to look back and realize, like, hey, maybe this is deeper than we think, and maybe we should be a little bit of concern about it, you know?
Yeah.
And really, if we go out and beat, this is the sad thing. We go out and kick the shit out of the Giants, and we dominate. I'm still not going to be convinced because I'm like, it's the fucking Giants.
But if we go whoop the Giants, how clean is the game? Is it clean? Is it efficient?
That's what I'm saying. If it's clean, it's efficient, and we just if we look like we did in the first 7 weeks, I'm still not going to be convinced after one game. I'm like, hey, that's fine. That's a step. We got that one game in because we got that fucking game in Atlanta too. We started with Denver.
Yeah,
and we're like shit, and then we bounced back, and we had Atlanta game, and I was wondering, like, all right, good, all right, that was one game we fucked up. We're back, and then we haven't been back since then. So that one game ain't gonna fucking make me that much happier. They're gonna have to put another one together against I'm about to call them Redskins, against fucking Washington the next week, and then I want to see it again against fucking. They're gonna have to put a 2-3 game stretch together for me to be like comfortable heading the playoffs.
I tell you what. If you go out there and you play Arizona really well, win or lose, if the offense isn't having all these problems and you show Arizona defensively that, Kyler Murray is not going to just wreck the fucking game. If you go out there and play well against Arizona, even in a loss, I'll feel pretty good about how we look going to the playoffs. You know what I mean? Because that's a good team. That's the only good team we have left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I feel good about it as long as they put together 2 good games before that. I want to see them look good against fucking the Giants, because they should look good against the Giants.
I mean, take care of business.
Yeah,
like smother the Giants, smother the Redskins again. Go play well against Arizona. Get rid of the Eagles. Like you should win all these.
You should.
But
you should.
I've still got us at 11-6, and I'm not really moving. I've never been anywhere but 10-7 and 11-6 all season till they show me something different. But you want to show me something and get me on board, win these last 4, and especially look competent against Arizona.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I want the win. I'm going to be a bitch about the win. But if we go out and we win our next 4 and looking like we did with our last 2, I won't be confident going into playoffs.
No, you're right.
You're right. I mean, we go 4-0 and defense carries us and shit like that. And everybody's going to be like, oh, well, the defense. Hey, look, man, I understand. I get it. We haven't had a defense like this since the 90s.
Offense got to get in sync.
But if you go in with this offense right now, I'm sorry, you're not going nowhere with this offense.
We're not. We may not even beat a wild card team.
Yes, I seen the Denver Broncos in 2015. Their defense carried them when fucking Manny had a noodle arm. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I've seen it happen. This ain't really this era, but we'll go back to 2000. I've seen the Ravens do it, but that's pretty much the only 2 teams. People use Seattle.
And this ain't the 2000 Ravens defense.
Exactly.
It's good, but it ain't that.
It ain't that good. That's what I'm saying. I've only seen 2 defenses. Fucking, we're at the end of the game. I think this is why they won the game. This is why they won the championship, because their defense. People can say that about the Seattle defense, but they had a competent offense. They had a good run game, a good young quarterback, and Wilson.
Run game.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So they had a competent offense. It's just they was more defensive built than they was on offense.
Yep.
But yeah, so if we look like we did the past 2 games, the next 4, I won't have any confidence going into playoffs. Nope. I'm not going to say, well, the defense is going to carry us, because
the only thing that'll give me a little confidence is that we'll be home for our first playoff game, and in a controlled environment, we're a lot better. We suck in the weather, like we just do, and we have. Dak is not his best in the weather. Amari Cooper is not his best in the weather. Offensively, when there's adverse conditions, I don't think that's good for us. So all the people talking about seeding, I hope Tampa gets the 1, not Green Bay, because I'd rather deal with them. And I mean, you might have to deal with Green Bay anyway if they get the 2, but much rather deal with Tampa at Tampa than Green Bay at Green Bay, just because of the weather.
Well, see, I'm a big seeding person, and I want That's one reason I want to win out is because you still have a chance, slight chance, but still have a chance at the 1. But
Yeah.
you have a legitimate shot at the 2. And a lot of people don't even think about the 2 because there's no bye week with the 2. But I look at the 2, and that's where the fuck I want. I'd rather have the 2 than the 4.
That means all your games will be warm.
You're guaranteed 2 home games. You're guaranteed your first wild card game and your next game, they got to come to you. So you're guaranteed 2 home games if you get the 2 seed.
And your road game is warm if you get to the NFC Championship. I'll play Tampa again in Tampa. Fuck Tampa.
Yeah. So and then like right now, we're the 4th.
Okay, no, Charlie, because you just told me on Saturday that you didn't want anything but the 1.
No, that's why I said I want to play for the 1. Okay. And the only way you can play for the 1 is to go undefeated. Okay. And if we go undefeated, we have a chance at the 1. But if that's also the only chance we're going to have at any other seed besides the 4. So yes, if you go undefeated, that's why I want to go undefeated, because then you have the shot at the 1.
Okay.
But we don't control that. We have to have Green Bay lose. We have to have Tampa Bay lose.
Yeah.
And we have to win out. Of course, I'm assuming we will. Not that I'm not predicting. I'm just saying in this scenario, we win out. If we win out, we've done everything we could to get the 1. All right. But if we have to fall and we still get the 2, I'm happy with that. I have no problem. So yes, I want to play for the 1, because if you don't get the 1, you still have the chance at the 2 or the 3. I want anything but the 4. But how that's going to work, that's up to other teams. We don't control that. I want the 1. So no, don't make no mistake about it. And to get the 1, you have to win out. If we lose another game, we ain't getting the 1. Yeah. More likely we're not getting the 1 anyways. But we still have a chance, because Green Bay can lose a game.
But Tampa's got nothing ahead of them.
And Tampa Bay, only thing Tampa has is New Orleans, to where it's a fucking divisional rival and weird shit happens. And I've seen New Orleans beat Tampa twice last year, which was kind of odd. I think they even beat them once this year. I think that's one of their losses.
Yeah, they did. Yes.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? I mean, so there's always that chance. So but the only thing we can do is win out to get the 1 seed, and then everybody else has to do some shit for us to help us out to fucking get us the 1 seed. But yes, Rika, yes, I'm playing for the 1. By me wanting us to win out and me wanting Green Bay to lose and Tampa Bay to lose, that's me playing for the 1 seed. But if something happens and say Tampa Bay doesn't lose again and they get the 1, but if I can get Green Bay to lose, if us, Green Bay, and fucking Arizona are tied, we get the 2 seed. We win that, and we'll get the 2 seed.
Play for the 1 until it's mathematically eliminated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Play for the 1, and if you're fucking and you end up with the 2, hey, you don't get the bye, but you get the second best seed, and you're guaranteed 2 home games.
Yep.
And that's what I want. The 3rd seed is better than the 4, but you're not necessarily guaranteed that second home game. You might have to go on the road on that second playoff game. But yeah, no, always play for the 1. But if your consolation prize is a 2, don't shrug your shoulders at it. That's still good. That means the only time you're going on the road is if you go to NFC Championship game. And even then, that's another thing. This year with the playoffs and how everybody's matched up, if you get the 2 seed, you still have a decent chance of getting the fucking NFC Championship game in your house if you win both your games. Because them other teams are going to be matched up too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're fucking say Tampa Bay has the 1. Cardinals could go in their house and beat them. Green Bay can go in their house and fucking beat them.
Yep.
Fucking, I mean, so it's not like it's out of the ordinary that you won't get the fucking NFC Championship game in your house with the 2 seed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you always play for the 1, and if your consolation prize is a 2, always play for the higher seed is my point. Yep. And the only thing we can do to get the higher seed is win the rest of our games and pray to baby Jesus that we get some help.
All right. So at this point, I'm at with this team. Wins against New York, Washington, and Philly just aren't going to impress me. Against Arizona, they don't have to win, but they're gonna have to play like they did in week 1.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then I really don't give a shit about the seed, because we're gonna lose in round 1 anyway. That's kind of where I'm at on this thing.
Totally.
All right, kids, we've been on for an hour. Hey, listen up, y'all. TwistedGorilla.com has the best t-shirts online. They've got funny t-shirts, sarcastic t-shirts, but most importantly, gang, they've got Cowboys t-shirts. So head to TwistedGorilla.com, Let them know that you're a fan of the Cowboys, that you're a fan of Rika, and that you hate Charlie. And save 15% at checkout when you use coupon code RIKA15. Website and the coupon code are in that ticker right down there. Wedge Buster, thank you so much for coming and joining the crazy circus again. Hey, guy, let
Thanks
these
for having me.
folks know where they can find you.
I'm at WedgeBuster88 on Twitter. I don't do much else, but I appreciate the follows because every once in a while I say something that makes sense. So I'm kind of fun on there sometimes.
Yeah, he's a pretty damn good follow. Nobody wants to find Charlie, but you know what? Go ahead and tell them where you're at so they can block you.
Damn.
Dallas Cowboys Uncensored everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
All right, guys, my name is Rika. I'm an author at RikaMovesTheChains.com. This is my show. It's mediocre, but hey, I like it. You can find me on Twitter at Chains Moving and on Facebook, Rika Moves, last name The Chains. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget, be back here Saturday night on the Dallas Cowboys Uncensored Network, 8 o'clock Central Time for Keeping Up with the Joneses. Me, Charlie, I don't know who the hell else is going to show up to be on the show, but it's going to be a good time regardless, okay? Stephen White, the lunatic, you're late. MJ Gilmore and my friend Bird, thanks for coming in. Mendoza, always. Stephen White, glad you're stoned. Pat, thank you. I'm sorry you're friends with Charlie. I feel your pain. Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you next time.